In the Trump assassination attempt, the Butler police have just released a lot of body cam footage. We're going to break it down for you step by step because it answers some questions and raises some new ones. Hello, everyone. Dr. Chris Martinson here with Pre-Prosperity. Let's go right there. Body cam breakdown. We have questions. We got some answers. We have some questions. Now, remember, there was this whole story about the the municipal cop who, it was an ever-changing story. Remember, 3 weeks ago, they were saying, well, a local officer fired a shot at the Trump shooter. Butler DA confirms. I think that district attorney would be Goldinger. At any rate, that didn't happen. Local cop who interrupted Thomas Cooks, but failed to stop him. So they said, oh, he interrupted him. So that at least caused maybe him to miss that first shot, thankfully. Thankfully for those of us who didn't wish that Trump was dead, obviously. There are people out there who would take exception to the way I phrased that because they wanted him dead. Armed Butler Township officer encountered Trump rally shooter, tried to stop him. Okay, unable to engage. So the story was all over the place. We didn't know, was he boosted up there? Did he hike himself up there? Did he fall 8 feet? Did he twist his ankle? Did he break his ankle? Did he cut his hand? There are a lot of questions. All of these actually now get resolved. So I'm going to walk you through this, just some stills first so that we have the frame, and then we're going to see what the actual video looks like. So I have this 26-minute video, and it's from BWC2 122110. So that identifies that body cam for this particular officer. You see it's 7/13, that's the 13th of July, 2024. That's the day of the Trump assassination attempt. And it starts exactly at 18:00. So at 6 o'clock, this comes on and it runs for a full 26 minutes. And by the way, it's completely silent for the first 12:06. I have no idea what's happening here. This has to have been intentionally blanked out for audio because there is in these types of body cameras sometimes, or maybe always, a delay. If they first get turned on, the video turns on, but there's like a 30-second or 60 or sometimes 90-second delay before the audio starts up and tracks in. I don't know why they would build it that way. That seems odd. Any cell phone can do better than that, obviously. And so here we see at 8 minutes later, well, hold on. Let me cut here first. So it's 6:05. He's just driving around for a while, and 5 minutes, 40 seconds into this video, he pulls over, he stops, he gets some kind of a cell phone communication. I can't make out what's on there, but it looks like a text because he's not talking on it. He's reading something. He responds, tick, 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 tick. So I'm going to guess a text. And then he U-turns and goes right back the way he comes and beelines it to the AGR. So somewhere around 6:05 and 40 seconds, give or take, he gets some sort of a communication. Now, we don't have that communication in our timeline yet, so that's going to now be an open question until we resolve that. And then at 6:08, after he's driving there pretty quick, you see he pulls up under the water tower, which is there at the AGR complex. And then he speaks with, you can still see the water tower right there. There's another marked car there with lights on the top. They roll down their windows. They communicate again. This is all silent. We don't know what is said at this stage. So at this point, this officer beelines it right to AGR 6, Building 6 at the AGR complex. We can see it there right through the windshield. There's a little light at the top. And of course, Crooks at 6:09, he's going to already be on top of that because we know from the Copenhagen film, at 6:08 and 38, we see him scamper across and come up there. So Crooks is up there. This guy pulls up. He gets out of the car immediately, doesn't sit there and talk about anything. At 6:09:04, 4 seconds later, he pulls up, stops, opens the door, gets out. And the first thing he does is he beelines it around the south side of the building. But what we're going to notice here is that's the other officer he was just talking to under the water tower. So what I want to observe here is that this whole side of the building is completely devoid of any law enforcement presence. And you see the motorcycle is there. The door is closed. Let me get my drawing tool out real quick because this is interesting. Got to observe this. This door is closed. There's lights on in there. You can see when we go past at a later point, there's lights on, but the door is closed. Nobody is spilling out. Now, at this point in time, there have been a lot of concerns about Crooks, and we know that at 6:08:20, across the police radio said, guy on the roof wearing shorts. Okay. He's on the roof. So they've been looking for this kid, They're looking for somebody, and he's on the roof, and they know that. And so I'm a little surprised. I don't see anybody on this side. The first two people who show up is going to be this guy and this gentleman whose body camera we're tracking because, well, that's the one they've given us here. Now, that's kind of interesting. And there's really nobody else here except these two. Now, this is interesting. This guy comes out, and I've got him circled in red, the second law enforcement officer, again, from the vehicle that was just stationed or at least parked or stopped temporarily under the water tower. They pull up, they talk to each other, they both drive to different spots, they both get out. And then look at this. Here we can see, when I zoom in a little, you can see this guy get out, this officer, and then here's his arm. These white arrows indicate the direction of his arm. I really had to zoom in, but you can clearly see his arm is down, it's coming up, it's coming up. There's his hand right there, it's coming up, it's coming up. He's pointing up at the roof at this point in time, so it's clear already to these two gentlemen who pull up within seconds of getting out of their car. This is just at 6:09:07. So this is just 7 seconds after arriving. It's like, oh yeah, right there. Just like all the people on the west side are like, oh yeah, right there, right? So I don't know where the confusion is as to where this person was on the roof. Now, at 6:09:27, this officer here with the body cam had run all the way up, more than halfway up the south side of the AGR building. We can see here 2 of the 4 vent stacks. We can see this old TV antenna that's been there. This is door 10 in their complex. These are all the people standing around. And here's the woman on her horse right here. And we see some of our old friends from many of the earlier videos that we've analyzed. Now, what's interesting is you can see the ground continues to rise all the way up here to this grassy knoll where you can clearly see onto this roof kind of easily. And we know that there are plainclothes officers and also uniformed officers on this side. A bit of a mystery why there was any mystery at all as to where this person was. But this guy pulls up whatever communications he's got, and he's running around saying, where is this guy? So first thing he does is he spends his first half a minute walking up this side of everything, okay? And he just walks right on up. And then at 6:09:36, 36 seconds after walking up this side, he starts to turn back the other way. Hey, Dave Stewart. That's the guy in the red shirt, and we're very familiar with Dave Stewart's films. There he is. And as well, one other thing we can see here, this is a state police officer by uniform, and he's got his gun drawn, and he's standing on a picnic table at this point in time. And hey, Dave. So this is at 6:09:51. So pulls up at 6:09 on the dot, hops out of the car. First minute is just walking this way to get the lay of the land and figure out what's happening. So walks up the south side of the AGR building, headed west. So on the south side, headed west, comes all the way up to here, turns around at 6:09:51 and says, wonder what's going on here. And by the way, that officer is standing on a picnic table. Yep, that picnic table from the Grassley materials, where we also know that Grassley went out of his way to have it noted that this purple thing, those front doors on the side of Building 6 on the east side, is the ESU entry and exit. So there should be people coming and going, like in and out of there, if they're using this building as a staging ground. Okay, now on part 2 of this, for my subscribers, you're not going to believe the rest of this story, but you really need to. You really need to believe it right away. Would you believe that the current administration has been using, and the media have been using, fake AI images to make Kamala look more popular than she may be? We have to cover that. We're going to talk about that in part 2 for subscribers. For this weekend, we'll be chewing on that. All right, back to the story. Now, at 6:10:23, so this is a minute and 23 seconds later, comes peeling back around the side of this building. He's walking. He's doing a little sort of hustle jog right now, not running, not sprinting. We can see that these building doors on Building 6 still closed. Now we've got this uniformed officer here. This is the car that our officer with the body camera pulled up in. I don't know who this is who's pulled in afterwards. I'm going to guess maybe it's this. So it's an unmarked car with a uniformed officer in it, or a private car with a uniformed officer in it. I'm guessing. I don't actually know. That'll take a little more sleuthing. And here's the other vehicle that, of course, he encountered back here under the water tower when he first pulled in and pulled around. But just note, there's nobody to be seen here. This guy and this other guy. So there's two other officers down here. And then this gentleman, the body cam guy who got boosted, I'm calling him the boosted officer, got boosted up, comes around the corner. And at 6:10:55, this is the highest shot. We only have 3 frames that look like this. He got boosted up. His body camera is probably down here. And then his eyes are up here. So he can see what we can't. But at this point, whoa, drops down and says, hey, there's a guy up there. And I guess we don't know what he says because, again, there's no audio. Very frustrating that every time we think we want to see something, it's blurred out. We can't see that, or there's missing audio, like making us work extra hard. It's very frustrating in this whole thing. But, and again, no good reasons for that, for keeping these facts out of the public light, except you're not ready to have these facts out because you don't quite have the story all worked out, how you want to spin it yet, which is a classic FBI kind of a thing if they're responsible for this, or maybe there's just something on here that Butler didn't want us to know. Who knows? I don't know. Just guessing. So then he drops down. It's not 8 feet. Obviously, if you can boost somebody up to this point, it's probably at best dropping from waist height. Didn't cut his hand as far as we can tell. Didn't twist his ankle as far as we can tell. So let's watch this together now. And again, this is going to be in complete silence because there is no sound at this part. So here we are. He's pulled up. Okay, here's the other car. Rolls the window down. They communicate something to each other. Don't know what, but it's enough with the communication to go, okay, dude, I'm on the job. I got this. And they both pull forward. You could see the other vehicle pull out. He wheels right up, just pulling up at a pretty good speed for a parking lot, I would say. And you can see right here, building 6 comes into view. The front face of it. There we are. And that's at 6:09:02. In 2 seconds, he's out and walking. Okay. Note, there's no police presence down on this side of the building. He's coming up on this side. Hustle, 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 just sort of walk jogging. We don't know what he could possibly be saying, except we can actually see this on the Dave Stewart film. So we can come back to part of that. I'll show you what he says after he drops off. But he's coming up here. He's looking. Now, we know from the Dave Stewart film that there was a chance to see Crooks up there. His little head popped up at a few points. This guy's looking around. Whatever the other officers know, he doesn't know yet, apparently, because that would have been communicated. This should have been the easiest thing in the world. Hey, he's on the roof, building 6, south side, right there. We can see him because we got 3 plainclothes guys over there, plus a uniformed officer on that west side. Plus all the people are like, oh yeah, he's right there. So at this point, here we are at 6:10. Now this officer says, I know, maybe I can get closer to this. And he goes to this side of the building over here, again to the east side. Not clear why. There's the state cop still standing on that picnic table right there. Okay. Now, one of the things we know police do is they take guns very seriously. They take their personal safety very seriously, and they take the safety of their fellow officers very seriously. So he jumps in, pulls these other guys in. He's like, hey, give me a boost, buddy. Yeah, come on in here. We'll give you a boost. So this is the booster guy. Says, yeah, come on in. All right. Gets the foot. Up he goes. And he's going to pull himself up here. And he's going to take a peek over. And within less than a second, he is going to be dropping back down again. Like, oh no, don't like the look of that. Okay. So that's kind of an interesting thing. And then he runs around the corner. We'll take the rest of that a little later. And I'll show you what happens after that. So that's that part, okay? And what's interesting about that, to me, is that from the moment of arrival and getting out of his car, which you call that 6:09, probably on the dot, it was less than 2 minutes for this officer I was just driving around, got a text, wheeled up to the facility, got out of my car, took a minute to orient, and found the guy in less than a minute. Mighty fine police work compared to, I don't know what everybody else was up to at that moment. A lot of questions. Like I said, questions have arisen. All right, so now we're going to take this same video, but now we're starting at the point of the boosting. So notice when he's getting boosted up here, if you will, real quick. This is interesting to me. Right about Wait for this, wait for this. Up. I just missed it. You can see there's like fingerprints already on the side, like there's a dusty coating on the side of these things, and we just missed it, but there were some. I don't think I can back up. Let's just start over. Watch carefully on the side. You'll see that it's almost like somebody's already been trying to scrabble up there prior to this moment, but I don't know what that would be about. So, right, not there. There. See that? Yeah, there's like somebody's already like, eek, 3 fingers, it looks like. Eek. Before this moment, before anybody's come up and put their hand on it, we already have some marks on it there. And look at all those marks. Like, somebody was sort of scrabbling to try and get up there at one point, right? Pretty obvious. Anyway, so up we go. Pulls himself up. Whoa, no. Obviously didn't draw a weapon. Obviously didn't take a shot. Runs around the side. Now, this is the mysterious part. Okay. So he's just seen a guy with a gun, and I'll show you how we establish that fact. Now, he's choosing to run around the side here, and I'm a little mystified. Now, again, in the midst of an emergency, who knows how people are going to react? I'll cut you plenty of slack, but I'm just a little mystified that he knows there's a gentleman up there with a long gun, which he's identified as an AR. I'll show you how we know that. And now he's coming straight into what we would call the line of fire. Now, at this point, we're going to be able to pick up what he came and what he didn't say and what he did say because of the Dave Stewart film. And it's a little perplexing what we see in that part. So again, we have questions. And what happens now is he runs back to his car. Shots have already been fired. Those happened about 13 seconds ago. Here we are. Bloop, bloop. Open the car, unlock it, open it. You're going to see there's some fumbly stuff. Sound is about to kick in here. Okay. Might get loud. Let me see if I can get my volume ready here in case it's too loud. I can adjust it for us. All right. So, and he fumbles around, but point being, he's got an AR, so he knows exactly what one looks like. You can see the double charge handle to pull the bolt back and get a round chambered. So at any rate, he knows what an AR is, and so that's kind of an interesting moment. Now, here's why that becomes extra interesting. Let's listen in here. So I've done this. This is Barry stabilized this for us because it's kind of a shaky cam. I know a number of you have said, could you please restabilize that? So this is stabilized. We're just watching here. And this is what we're going to be watching here is just the moment where the police officer comes around the corner. He's dropped down. He's seen that there's a guy up there with glasses and long hair and a backpack and an AR, according to his own description to other officers just a few minutes later. He's seen that. He's dropped down, and then he's running around this side, and we're trying to make sense of his actions here. There he is, on the right over there, coming around. He might be keying a mic there, might be saying something, but here he is walking. No gun has been drawn yet. There's a gun. Now he's got a gun in his hand. He's got a gun drawn. First 3 shots. There he is running back the other direction. And so that officer is now running to his vehicle. He's going to open it up. He's going to get his long rifle, put a mag in it, chamber around, and go be part of all the rest of that. So here's what's fascinating about that. Let's start back here again. So this again, starting here, this is before any shots have been fired. This is after the police officer has seen Crooks on the roof. If that's Crooks, here he is. Now listen, he's not yelling anything. He doesn't fire any shots into the ground to get the party started. There's another officer over here who we established was on the table, right? That the state police guy. I'm not clear if he's there still, but he might be. Everybody knows there's a problem. Nothing happens until he says, get out of the way. And he's waving to the people over there who are up against the fence. And I find that a little odd because that's the only thing he says. He doesn't yell. He's got a gun. Like, here's what I imagine. And again, you know, it's a situation. You never quite know how people are going to react. Okay, fine. But what I would be expecting is, let me start this over again. What I would be expecting is, as soon as you drop down, he should be yelling right here. He should be like that other guy. He's got a gun guy. We have no problem hearing him, right? He's got a gun. I have him on every single tape. I can hear him across like every recording device I've got out there spread across the universe. He's got a good set of lungs. But that's what an officer should do. Is there should be, I imagine, some command like, he's got a gun. He should be yelling that. Or, to any other officer or people who are downrange of what he suspects. Like, he's got it in line because he runs along and then he tells the people up against the fence line, get out of the way. Of the way of what? He's going to be shooting that way? Who do you know? Anyway, I mean, you would guess, of course, but it's kind of weird, isn't it? So let's carry on here and just notice again. Here he comes. He's not saying anything. He's not yelling. Draws his weapon.
Make yourself small, bro. I don't know what's going on.
Listen in. Yeah, he's got a gun. I got questions. Why isn't he yelling? I don't understand. So the missing audio on this, of course, stands tall now, which is a little bit odd. So of note again, so now we're going to pick up from him. The officer runs back to his car, okay, after all the shots have been fired, and then he's going to chamber up his gun here, and you'll just notice he's got a lot of adrenaline and there's some nerves involved, obviously, in getting the mags out. No fault with that. I understand. But there is something really important to note in this little chunk here. Okay, got that mag. Let's try this mag. Okay, let's get it in there. Good. Chamber, see those two charging handles? Pulling those back. Cycles them a couple of times. Okay, gets the mag back in there. Accidentally dropped it. I hope he's got a live one, but I froze it here because, again, there's nobody here. Like, shots have just been fired. If there were people in that building there, they should be piling out about it. I don't understand what's happening because here we are. We're basically a full minute in to the whole thing. So at 18:12:31, 18:11:33 is when the first shot was fired. So we're close to, very close. We're 58 seconds here after those first shots. The first shot report came out, and it's like an empty parking lot at this point in time. So a little bizarre. Don't totally understand that. But the point is, he also has an AR platform. And why does that factor in? Because, because of this. At this point, that's what he says to this other officer over there, I guess. He says, effing this close, bro. Dude, he turned around on me. So he's all hopped up. So he turned around on me. So the idea here is this guy gets boosted up, and Crooks turns around on him, and then this guy drops down. But then he doesn't yell anything. He doesn't run anywhere. We don't have any radio communications to work with yet in terms of what actually was said. But obviously there was 40 seconds after effing bro, he turned around on me. There's 40 seconds from there to the first shot. That's a lot of time to alert, to warn, fire a warning shot into the ground or just off into the distance if you want to be irresponsible about it, to yell something about, he's got a gun, or get boosted back up most of the way, but, keep safe and yell freeze or put your hands up or drop or police, that commanding thing they do, right? As they're trained to do. The voice of a law enforcement officer is one of their most important tools. It's the authority that you command. So it's odd. I don't totally understand what's happening here yet. Now, what's interesting is we also have a number of other body cams. This is a body cam here from BWC2 122125. You can see the horse lady is wisely taking shelter behind this building, away from everything. That's her over there behind the building. But you see that white arrow? That's this second body cam. And I'm raising this body cam just simply because at one point here at 18:13:34, exactly 2 minutes after the first shot, hi, Greg. We can see Greg. The only place, given the stitching between this video and Dave Stewart's video, the only place Greg could have come from would have been from inside the building, would have had to have come through those doors right there. We don't have that on film, as we used, as us old people say. We don't have that recorded on tape. What's a tape, Dad? No, but so I'm pretty sure that's the only place that we can stitch through, because he didn't come down the west side of the building because Dave Stewart had that totally covered. That's where we saw the undercover / plainclothes people coming down from that side. Remember, capri pant guy, camo shorts dude, and ZZ Top, right? The all-star cast coming down from the west side. We don't see Greg coming from there, and Greg didn't come from this direction, so it must have come from in the building, deductively. Now, interestingly, there is a slight scratch on body cam. This is boosted Mooney Cop guy, who within 2 minutes figured out where the guy was on the roof. Not that hard. And they had a scratch, but not blood. So we have this other report we have to resolve now. Blood in the bathroom because somebody cut their hand badly enough while trying to get on the roof. Now, there was a whole scrum of guys down there with pallets and broken chairs, and it's possible there was a cut there, but it wasn't this guy. We can establish that. Now, this is when an off-road vehicle, a Polaris of some sort, I don't know what it is exactly, it arrives, and it looks like the Quick Reaction Force has arrived, and all of a sudden you see all these people in camo and, you know, close quarter combat rifles showing up. So that they arrive by car later, about 2 minutes in, they arrive. And so this is an interesting part here, which we have to resolve then. So listen in carefully. I just cut out this one part. This is boosted cam guy. This is the boosted Muni Cop. He's got his AR platform in his hand at this point in time. You see the QRF guys have all shown up in that Polaris. And they're all kitted up, and this is early on. They don't have a ladder yet. Oh, speaking of which, in that alcove, good point, I forgot to mention this, we can establish guaranteed green data now. There is no ladder in that alcove. Remember later a 10-foot trapezoidal, tapering ladder shows up in that alcove? It wasn't there at the time this guy got boosted, right? So there was no ladder at that time, and there's no ladder here. That's why they're using these pallets. They found them somewhere. They stacked them up. Now let's listen in to Boosted Cop guy as he says this.
Bro, he's got a book bag. He's got mad shit. AR laying down.
AR laying down mad shit. I don't know what that is.
Bro, he's got a book bag. He's got mad shit. AR laying down.
Book bag. Mag? I don't know what that other stuff is.
Bro, he's got a book bag. He's got mad shit. AR laying down.
AR. At any rate, point is, he knows that he's got an AR. He has an AR himself, so he knows that we're talking about a semi-automatic rifle. Not a long rifle, not a gun, not a pistol, but a gun that can shoot a lot of bullets relatively quickly, right? It's an AR. And so with that, I'm a little confused as to why his first instinct after dropping down was to run to the front of the building where he would have been exposed to a line of fire. And it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Running as if he wanted to see some more. I'm just confused. Doesn't feel like ordinary, normal police work. And I'm also confused as to why it was that a municipal cop on patrol wheels in less than 2 minutes has managed to figure out where the guy is and that he's got an AR, and all these other, I don't know what all these other people are doing. I don't know what, I have questions.
He's got a book bag, he's got mad shit, AR laying down.
Okay, so the timeline we have to accept now, I got a couple of things kind of cut off there, but don't worry about it. That last thing is 1 hour, and, that's the word and missing, right there. So this is the timeline we've been working with. I won't go through the whole thing. I'm just going to tell you we now have to insert these yellow text letters in here, right? So we know that, for whatever reason at 6:03, it's showtime. Trump finally takes the stage, the thing they finally been waiting for. At 6:05, one of the remaining 2 Overwatch snipers from the ESU left their post, abandoned their post to go look for crooks. And then also at 6:05, a Muni Cop out on patrol somewhere receives a text of some sort, beelines it for the AGR complex. So now we have that as part of our timeline. At 6:06, the last sniper apparently leaves. Windows open, maybe still with sniper gear all set up, we don't know. And to go let the other sniper back in, we're told, but that doesn't make sense either. And then at 6:08:38, we know Crooks is captured on video by James Copenhaver. We also know that at 6:08:20, there's another radio communication that says he's on the roof. He's got white shorts, is how it's relayed. And then at 6:09:04, the Muni cop is out of his vehicle, pulls up, throws the door open, begins his search, and at 6:10:55 finds him. Right, only a minute 49 from door open to figuring out where this guy is. And then we have this weird 40 second gap between Boosted Cop seeing him and the beginning of the shots. And again, what's the audio? But from Dave Stewart's video, we kind of know what's going on, which is there's not a lot of yelling and shouting and communicating going on. Very odd. And remember, we have all these questions. We had all these questions like, there's Greg, right, standing there. Here, let me get my pointer. This is Greg Nickel right here. Here's ZZ Top. Here's Camo Shorts guy, and here's Capri Pant guy, right? Again, a little odd to me that these guys are coming in hot and heavy, plainclothes, with guns drawn, when presumably the rest of these folks don't know if there's a second shooter on site. In fact, there's concerns, and you can hear these people talking about actually Dave Stewart. They're like, hey, get that red shirt guy. I think he's with him. Like, they think there's accomplices at this point in time. So these dudes must be really confident that everybody knows them by face really well. So I'm going to guess they're locals, but I don't have confirmation of that. They could be feds. I don't know. But I don't know what they were not doing. Well, I do know what they were not doing on the west side of the building, which was in any way, shape, or form communicating that there's a guy on the roof with a rifle, an AR, right there getting ready to take shots. And he was there for a long time, 2.5 minutes, easily observable. And nothing happened because it's 6:08:20. There's a cop saying there's a guy on the roof with white shorts. 6:08:20. It's not till 6:11:33, 3 minutes, 13 seconds later, when the first shot rings out. How is it possible that between Greg and ZZ Top and Camo Pants guy and Capri Pants guy, plus all these other dudes, how is it possible that none of them were able to triangulate on where this guy was on this low roof that anybody could see real easy from the grassy knoll? They're just like, look, he's right there. We have questions, right? And remember, we have all these people over here at 6:09:42, like say, yeah, someone's up on the roof. And at 6:10:07, man says, officer. So he clearly sees an officer. He's like, officer. It's more in a signaling way. He's not yelling. He's like, officer. See what I'm seeing? And then a woman yells, 13 seconds when he's on the roof. He's right there on the roof, she says. And then finally, at 6:11:27, a man finally yells out, somewhere out there, big lungs guy yells out, he's got a gun. Now, no police have yelled he's got a gun. There's no alarm about that. There's nothing that we can really discover. And we now know that two of the plainclothes, that's Capri Pants guy and Camo Shorts dude, they're down here somewhere. And it's hard from the telephoto sort of zooming thing. We can't tell if they're in front of this other building out this way or they're this direction. Can't really tell. My guess is they're pretty far away, but they're down here. And of course, right in this gap, right in here, that's where Crooks climbed on the roof, going up the most obvious thing you could imagine, which is a stair-step like AC unit right there. And by the way, Spa Guy, I forgot to put that in here. I should have put it in. Darn it. Spa Guy resolved that, took his drone back there and can show you footprints and smudges that look like where backpacks got set down and fingerprints on the side of the wall. It's pretty much a done deal now that, and the top of one of the AC units is missing and somebody just put some plywood on it. So the FBI probably had footprints and they took that for evidence. So these guys are standing right here seconds before the shooting happens at 6:11. And of course, Crooks just did somewhere around 6:06, 5 minutes before, had to just leave the picnic table, which was here, or maybe over here. We're not clear, but I know there's a picnic table in front here. Walk this direction, get up onto the roof, come on over the roof, spend 3 full minutes on the roof, actually more, from 5 full minutes on the roof, but 3 minutes spotted on the roof. While we had 2 plainclothes officers down right there within minutes of where he was. And maybe they're on this side. I just don't know. I don't know. But anyway, there they are. And of course, ZZ Top, also out there, just right on the west side of Building 6, where all the people are going. There he is. So we have questions about that as well. And of course, obviously, you can see Crooks's dead body here very, very easily just standing on the grassy knoll. But if you stood up on this, you'd probably have a perfect view, a perfect shot, a perfect everything. So we have questions about why it was that we had all these law enforcement assets here at the time. And somehow they were baffled, even though somebody keyed into their mic and said he's got white shorts, he's on the roof at 6:08:20. Muni cop gets a message, texts in, drives in, pulls it, gets out of his car at 6:09, and by 6:10:55 has figured out where he is. And everybody else seems to be baffled. I do not know. So we have a next set of questions that we're going to have to resolve now at this point in time. First, how was it that it took a cop on patrol to arrive and work out where the person on the roof was in less than 2 minutes? Why was that? And why didn't the plainclothes law enforcement officers see Crooks on the roof when they were right there? And there were so many people yelling and pointing it out. And again, they're not that many people. Like there's like, I don't know, a couple dozen people on that side, maybe 70. I don't know. Not that many people. So it's not like a big, giant, cacophonous, crazy situation with hundreds of people trying to get your attention, you know, girl in a skimpy outfit walking by. I mean, it was just like pretty sedate. And there's people like, officer, what's happening here? So that's a little weird. And why didn't the Muni cop yell or scream or fire his weapon or do something? I don't understand the behavior of dropping down and hustling around the side of the building to look some more. And then just the only thing you communicate to anybody that we know about, because we can hear it on Dave Stewart's tape, is get out of the way to people who are standing ostensibly between this gunman and the crowd and Trump and all of that stuff. So little odd, I would say. And why did that Muni cop, why did he run back into the line of fire region at all? It just doesn't seem instinctively accurate, like a thing to be doing. And where was Greg this whole time? We need to know that. Who was the other ESU sniper? Where were they? Not where ear. That's a typo. Where were they? We need to know these things. Obviously, these are important things we just need to resolve still. And of course, who was in that AGR complex, specifically in Building 6? Was anybody in there? Because nobody comes out of that door until Greg comes out about 2 minutes into the whole adventure after the first shot. So that's odd. How would you begin to explain these questions? And what do you think the most reasonable explanation is that we could accept? And why don't we have audio? We definitely want to have audio. When can we get the audio to this? Because I really want to know what was said to who exactly, because then we can begin to resolve all of this. All right. So with that, I didn't mean to do an episode today, but that body cam footage was just too awesome. And by the way, I got to go back to Peak Prosperity right now because we got to talk about this, which is how this Trump assassination attempt fits into the other series of dots that have happened over the past month. You're just not going to believe this. So it's insane. So that's why I have to hide it back over there behind at Peak Prosperity, because we're going to have to chew on this privately for a while before I'm ready to go public with it. But that's all I have for now. Thanks very much for listening. Have a great weekend, everybody. And please, if you can answer any of these questions, let me know. A citizen's investigation, carrying on, back at Peak Prosperity, full conversation. Just drop us a line. Let us know. Also, info@peakprosperity.com. We're receiving all the tips and materials. Again, if you have evidence, put it in the subject line. If you're an expert, put it in the subject line, because we're getting lots of stuff still. You'd be surprised. Even though the media's moved on, we haven't, and neither have you. So thank you for being part of this. And together, we'll work this out. All right, with that, thanks very much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.